When it comes down to climate change, whose side are you on? Do you believe in climate change, or do you think that it's all a hoax just in order to take our tax money? Me personally, I believe it is a hoax. But I decided to be a little less skeptical and listen to a TED talk where environmentalists compared gas powered car to electric powered car to see which one was actually better for the environment, since this is what climate change activists are telling us that we need to buy.
You can see the conventional vehicle produces about 30 tons of CO2 over its lifetime. How does the electric vehicle look? Pretty good, right? Because some of that electricity comes from renewable sources, and because the electric motor is far more efficient than the internal combustion engine, it produces less CO2. But there is a problem with this graph. This graph says that at 0 miles, 0 CO2 has been produced. And if you think about that for a second, it means that the two cars have magically appeared in the showroom out of thin air. So you can see the conventional vehicle comes to the showroom having generated about 6 tons of CO2. And now this is the critical part. Making a battery isn't easy. The materials required are harder to find, and making a battery cell requires a huge amount of energy. So the battery vehicle comes to the showroom having generated about 12 tons of CO2. And you can see you'd have to drive it around 80 or 90,000 miles before you offset that CO2 penalty. But it is better in the end. So the electric vehicle still looks good here as well, right? Well, this is where it gets interesting. You see, the conventional vehicle has a 400-mile range, while the electric vehicle in this example has a 125-mile range. So really, we need to be comparing a 400-mile range electric vehicle. And as you may have guessed, a longer range requires a larger battery, which means a larger CO2 penalty. And now you start to see the problem. Over its expected lifetime, it has emitted more CO2 than the conventional vehicle. It has contributed more to climate change than the conventional vehicle, and that is the crux of the problem. It has produced more CO2, but we've measured none. And so society is happy to continue to call these zero emissions.
And it's bad enough that the electric vehicles are, on average, $66,000. Have you been on Car Gurus or Carvana.com and just seen what you can get for $66,000? You can get something a little more nicer than a Tesla. But we see what's going on in California, where they're trying to convince the people of their state to buy electric vehicles, but at the same time, they're having rolling blackouts. They're telling their population not to charge their electric vehicles. And this happened a couple of days after they said by 2030, 2035, no one will be able to purchase a gas-powered vehicle in California. And that should be scary to the United States population, because what happens in California usually goes on throughout the rest of the country years later. But that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you still rock with the whole climate change movement? And are you going to go out there and buy you a electric powered vehicle, even though they put out worse emissions than a gas powered vehicle, which is kind of contradictory to you wanting to save the environment? But yeah, let me know in the comment section. I'm your host, TJ Evans, with another episode of TJ Evans Show. Subscribe to the page, Royal Family Studios, TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. Stay safe, stay prayed up. Peace.